We start.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gymming is your hobby.
Yes.
How much time do you spend in gymming?
Weekly, I have more 4 to 5 times, or in a day, 1 hour to 1.5 hours.
How gymming would help you in civil service?
So government is already running the Fit India campaign. The dynamic officer on the field, there should be a dynamic officer both in physically and mentally. And during the course of preparation, I have started habit of this gymming, because of it creates the balance and discipline physically, food wise, and also mentally. So in the civil services, in the field, there are lots of opportunity to go to field and maintain balance with the work and life. So gymming will definitely help it, sir. Also, I can influence fellow colleagues of mine to be part of the Fit India campaign.
So Fit India, the fitness, is it only coming from gymming? There is no other options for to be fit?
People can opt for their own ways. I have decided to go for gymming because of aesthetically, also in mind wise, also muscle wise, and that is the one way. Other way, people can also practice the yoga, meditation. I also practice meditation during my spare time. That also bring mind and control balance.
Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you.
You have done your D.Tech.
Yes, ma'am.
Which subject?
Civil engineering, ma'am.
At KT University.
Yes, ma'am.
In the year 2017.
Passed out. Yes, ma'am. Passed out in 2017.
Then after you were.
No, I did not go. I had an offer with a private corporate company. I decided to be in the civil services. I started preparation, and this was my third attempt and first interview at Odisha Civil Services.
You're choosing your subject as psychology and home science.
Yes, ma'am.
Why these two subjects?
Initially, I had gone for civil engineering and psychology, and in the first attempt, I got a quite less mark in civil engineering. Though I had elective in psychology, so I opted for the psychology in my second optional. But after getting a little amount mark to balance UPSC and OPSC preparation, I had to go for another subject which had some similarities between psychology. So while surfing through the syllabus, I had my part, the second the paper with the home science, which was child development, and this part is Piaget and language development. I think that was quite similar to my psychology preparation, could help me. So I decided to be in psychology home science. Also, home science, I think that is the part of civil services, the government schemes in nutrition, health, and self-help group. That is the field which we are going to work on. That's why I have decided both psychology and civil engineering.
What are the schemes you have known about the government for nutritional development?
The basic scheme which right now coming into my mind of the central government national nutrition mission, that is Poshan Abhijan, which is aimed at eliminating the anemia by 3% and underweight and the low birth weight. That is the main umbrella scheme which is going on the target basis. And for the Odisha government point of view, there is Mission Shakti, the women empowerment and self-help group is working with giving the social mobilization and financial mobilization. That is the thing right now I'm coming. Also there is for pregnant and lactating women, that is Matru Bandhana Yojana, and also the pregnancy period has been increased. The paid leave, that is 12 to 26 weeks, also have been given. These things are very encouraging.
Why so much priority for this pregnant woman? For health point
Yes,
of
ma'am.
view, why it is necessary?
The care to mothers are very much necessary because they are carrying the future of our nation, and maternal mortality rate has been increased in the last few years, and if we can, that is the initial state of health infrastructure. So we have to protect our mothers and also the child. Lack of those, also many children are facing death before the maternal mortality rate, and also child mortality rate has been on the rise. So that's why the government is trying to protect the mothers and children, so that we can have a better human capacity. And we are also, by 2045, we are going to be the biggest demographic dividend. So that we need to capitalize on that factor.
What is energy?
Energy in terms of physics or energy in terms of, sorry ma'am?
In
Home
your
science.
subject, home
Okay.
science.
Energy is the capacity to do something, the physical capacity to do something, ma'am.
So you are gymming at the same time you are putting on muscles, isn't it?
Losing fat also. But the,
How you are losing your fat?
but the goal is there to gain muscle and lose fat. So
I could not get it.
my goal, there are so many goals in gymming. My goal was to gain muscle and lose fat. There is a fat and that is been inside my body in adipose tissue and all those things because of in the past because of bad food habits and bad drinking habits and all those things. So in the course of gymming and cardio exercises, I have to burn my fat and lose some calories in the daily intake and daily energy expenditure. And also by the muscle exercise, muscle training, strength training, I can gain the proper amount of muscle also, which can increase my bone
How
strength.
physical activity helps our human body? What is the best thing we are getting by doing regular exercise?
Regular exercise, ma'am, can bring, if we speak about body and mental balance, that can the first thing, body-mind balance, that is the internal peace and the rest we can get after the physical activity, proper amount of sleep. Immune response can be increased, blood cells, RBC can be increased, and also a proper joint strength and muscle strength can be developed. So daily life can be, activities can be done like playing or like lifting cylinders and daily work, household work. At the old age, the joint issues can be avoided. The exercises can be helpful in that.
What is trace element?
I'm not able to recall them, ma'am, right now.
How you study the psychology of a adolescent boy?
Adolescent boy. We can study the psychology theoretically or practically. Theoretically, if I look into, there are different aspects to study psychology of an adolescent boy. Whether it is a behavior, if we look into behaviorist school of thought, we can see the reactions and the behavior of a person, like with his deviant behavior, socially deviant or socially inclined towards a particular community or family values, that we can see the adolescent behavior, whether it is deviant or inclined towards more moral values. And if you look into Freudian theories, that is Freud looks into the inner side, that is the unconscious motives. We can use the dream interpretation, free association of adolescent, so that we can know whether it is adolescent is more toward achieving the inner potential or drive towards the more ego and id principles like unconscious pleasure principle, sexual drive, so that we can make the proper counseling adolescents towards the achieving life goals.
If you will be selected as an administrative
Yes.
officer,
So,
what will be your good role or major role
yes, ma'am.
to develop the state?
So, ma'am, actually there have been many sectors which we are working on right now. Sarkar has been a tremendous step in getting people's feedback in different sector of governance. But I think my priority will be tourism, ma'am. Tourism sector. Odisha has a large and vast opportunity, and tourism can be enhanced for the education, also through health. Tourism is a sector which can attract revenue and also employment.
How you will relate your extension education part, which you have already
Yes, ma'am.
gone through? How will you relate that in this touring? To develop this society.
Okay,
means,
ma'am. Suppose I am giving an example. Yesterday came a multidimensional poverty index report from the Niti Aayog, and Odisha improved and been able to pull up people from the poverty. And suppose this education, this idea about the rural people, those who are not aware about their conditions, this can be through the extension education, and many educators can be employed in the rural areas, those who can also work on to help the farmers and also making them aware about the schemes and also the current development happening in the education and the research field. So this can also helpful to make them pull out from the poverty cycle. Thank you, ma'am.
You have done BTech in civil engineering.
Yes, sir.
Why do you want to join civil service?
Sir, civil engineering, while I was doing my fourth year project in the geotech engineering, soil strengthening, so we had to go to and collect the samples. Also, I have been part of our founder's initiative, The Art of Giving, Dr. Achyut Saman's initiative. So during the weekends or during the holidays, we had to go to people, those who are in need. We had to spend time. Around the slum areas of the Patia, I got personally influenced by the change that a bureaucrat can bring and the government servants can bring into their life. There are many issues those who are facing, and the public servants are in the direct contact, and they are the permanent executive, which can bring change in a longer run. That got attracted to me. And a civil engineer, I may have opportunity to serve the nation, but in a particular one sector, that is my infrastructure or any kind of project where I was working. But civil services will give me diverse set of sectors.
You do not have any personal interest?
Yes, sir. That is a personal interest. That is the motivation which drives me to be in a civil services. That is my personal interest.
Okay. And how is this civil engineering?
Yes, sir.
You have knowledge of 4 years.
Yes, sir.
How this is going to help you in the civil service?
Sir, as an engineer, we had a basic knowledge about computer and application, which is the main criteria of e-governance, first thing. That is the computer application and awareness. I can be helpful to my colleagues and my...
you are not in CSE, right? You are civil engineering. Right?
Basic knowledge about, I am talking about civil engineering also, sir. The basic knowledge about computer which has been given in the first year. That can be useful, that can be also definitely use of Excel and all these things can be helpful. Second thing about civil engineering, the main thing I could bring into table about my experience and about my study, so those I can maintain the checks and balance in the administration. There are issues of bridge collapse in Morbi and also Bhagalpur. Maybe there could be a lack of vigilance and maybe there could be lack of proper checks and balance in the administration at the lower level of administration. So which had brought the bad name to the total administration. So I can be helpful in that checks and balance without affecting the separation of power of the engineers working on.
So what are your weaknesses?
Maybe I am a bit nervous right now, but I am working on right. I have worked on these things to be not nervous in critical situations, but I am working on.
Suppose you are a district collector.
Yes, sir.
And there is a communal violence.
Yes, sir.
What would be your 3 steps? Tell us in priority.
Sir, first thing, communal violence if happens, first thing I will, if I am a district collector, yes, sir. If I am a district collector, then first thing will be to control the violence through the police action and...
First you will charge police action?
No, I will be contact with the police in charge to know the exact situation of that field. Second thing, I will convey this to my higher authority. The necessary actions should be taken. I will be on the field right now to talk about people, those who are on the field, what is the issue that is being heated up with the people. And at the last, the first thing would be the suspension of section 144 should be enforced so that people, the situation could be controlled and the internet connectivity and all these things had to be under control so that any kind of grapevine should not be spread. So this is the basic.
Don't you think stopping the internet is a violation of the freedom of speech? It is a violation of the freedom.
So the reasonable restrictions are there in Article 19 also. And the public order, we have to restrict the fundamental rights, sir, to maintain public order. And that is the situation.
Do you not think that this is getting a kind of misuse day by day by the government, using the law and the reasonable restrictions to oppress the freedoms?
So reasonable restrictions are there in the constitution, but some officers have been misusing it. But the checks and balance should be maintained at the personal level. Those who are operating at the district and looking at the situations they are carrying with right there.
What is section 144?
The section 144.
Which act?
Indian Penal Code, sir.
IPC?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Or CRPC?
IPC, sir.
Okay.
So section 144 of the IPC deals with if a situation arises of violence or communal violence or any kind of violence, then the section 144 gives the direction to restrict the movement of the people. I am not able to recall it whether it is less than 10 people or less than 5 people.
So find out whether it is IPC or CIPC.
Okay, sir. I'll go and recollect about it. Okay, sir.
Find out that. ठीक है, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So now is the feedback. Sitikantha.
Sitikantha.
Sitikantha.